and perception in this context. Siddharth, you've been waiting patiently to get in on this debate. You're a writer. We're talking about intolerance. Your community has been divided on this particular issue. Where do you stand on whether award wapsi should have happened?
Do I get an award for tolerance?
For tolerating this panel,
for waiting this long. So, you know, I work as a writer. I work with words, with language. That's my ammunition. So I'm going to come to this debate not politically charged, but as someone who looks, studies, rinses language to attend to one's life. Salman Rushdie had a very clear thing to say about book bans. Don't like a book, don't read it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'd like to extend the same logic towards, you don't want yours, return it. That's fine. But don't punish someone else who wants to hold on to their own. That's not right. I think the intolerance debate is partly manufactured, partly exists, and it is very important to talk about it. But the structure of this debate is deeply flawed. If you say that returning awards is a way of embarrassing the government, the ruling government, I would argue back saying that you are the same lot of people who call this government fascist. Do you really think that they're going to turn around and buckle from the pressure that a bunch of writers gives by returning their awards? That ain't going to happen. You know, they're not going to look at you and say, oh, you know, you gave your awards back. Hoo-hoo, I'm really afraid. Now, connect this to another writer. If this happened in America, and I can only talk about writers, I'm not going to talk about politics. If a writer of the stature of Toni Morrison, who is a very profoundly political writer, if she was shot dead, do you believe American writers would return their National Book Awards and say, this is how we protest? No, they wouldn't. They would go back and say, this is a law and order situation.
Absolutely.
This is a crime. This is a murder. You need to attend to that. That is what's going to happen. Now, because I think that there is this very simplistic, naive, sophomoric binary of people who believe nothing is wrong and people who believe that, you know, somebody said recently that there's a mass murder of fellow human beings happening, which is also ridiculous. So I think because I work with language and with words, I want to try to bring to the city of Bangalore, to this debate specifically, in a personal capacity and with permission from the Bangalore Literary Festival, a grant that I would write personally, a check of $1.5 lakh, to study what we mean by the word intolerance. No one knows. No one knows. You know, when Ram Guha talks about the fact that this is a Philistine government, I would say that the intellectual life in this country is equally Philistine. So I think we need to go back to the academics, to the scholars, and ask for what we mean by intolerance. And this study, there were 3 points that I would like to raise, is that I would like a clear academic factual definition of the word intolerance, what falls under the umbrella of intolerance, how the Indian notion of intolerance changed over the last 4 decades, incidents of perceived and actual intolerance under at least 3 different governments, and how is the situation different from seasons past. With this information, I think I would like to meet again next year and talk about this. So thank you.
Okay, so the Bangalore Lit Fest has a grant of $1.5 lakhs to give to somebody they see fit.
Oh, but Maya, you know, the thing is, I'm a simple writer from a village, but there are major powerhouses in the audience here. Yeah. And I would also invite them to say that, look, you know, this is what we're going to set down our money to do, is to actually understand the language that attends to this debate, because no one knows what this language is.
So Siddharth is putting his money where his mouth is on the intolerance debate.
Absolutely.